day, welcome to this webinar presentation on easing of labour relations. My name is Mike Beaumont and I'm your guide through this presentation. Supplementary material to this presentation can be found in Chapter 1 of Beaumont Solutions. Please refer to it for additional reading, explanation of models and elaboration on the points that I'll be making. How to ease labour relations? You're clearly going to refer to legacy issues, legacy relationships, perhaps changing union affiliation or pressing strategic or operational considerations. You may look for some quick fixes. How to ease unemployment, poverty or inequality, or how to drive competitiveness based on some international survey. Our point is that this is a journey, not an event, and it really is important to look far more holistically at the whole topic, and this is the journey that we're going to be taking you through today. So, where do we start? Did you know that there are upwards of 30 pieces of law that apply in the workplace? And that's besides looking at regulations and codes of good practice. It's a given that we must comply with these laws. But more so than that, don't tick boxes, look at the true spirit and intent behind that legislation. Overriding all of it must be the Bill of Rights. Encapsulate the principles found in the Bill of Rights in your internal procedures and policies at workplace level. Don't forget, of course, the International Labour Organization conventions to which South Africa is a signatory. Lastly, remember, compliance is about good governance, and good governance underpins performance of all organizations. What then is the foundation stone for our journey? This deals with the theory or model of labour relations that we're going to be following. Now, we advocate the pluralistic model. This talks about the dynamics and the complexities of the workplace. The principles here is that employer and employee have different needs. Inherently, this leads to conflict. That conflict is addressed through negotiation and collective agreements. It's not only the agreements, but also the honouring of those agreements in practice. And that is part of the discussion that we're going to enter into today. This pluralistic model identifies that employer and employees have different needs. Importantly, these must be balanced in a sustainable way. Reciprocity and the acknowledgement of these needs is absolutely vital in the way forward. So always remember to have the needs of both the employer and the employee on the negotiating table. Let's talk a little bit more about the needs of employees. These are reflected in the performance pyramid. This lists 5 layers of employee needs in ascending order, starting with safeness or safety at work, ending with workplace and life harmony. The important 2 elements are physical safety and emotional safety in the workplace, followed by rewards and recognition. Usefully, labour laws actually cement these needs. For example, occupational health and safety deals with physical safety in the workplace. Fair labour practices deals with emotional safety. So in this way we can combine good HR practices with compliance. If we wish to optimise our human capital in organisations, it's important that we have a compatible system for collective relationships. The 2 must be aligned with one another. One cannot seek a collaborative or partnership relationship with trade unions and yet at the same time regard people in the organisations as mere factors of production. The next step is for us to identify the type of collective relationship that we seek in the workplace. Formalism will help us in this regard, but over and above that, behaviours are most important. Why? Because behaviours will engender trust. So, what are the sort of behaviours that we would need to show? Respect and dignity for one another. Are unions recognised as legitimate stakeholders in the organisation? Do we have a wide agenda to talk about? Do we understand the agenda through information sharing? Do we prefer problem solving above some other adversarial approach to dealing with difficulties? How quickly do we go about resolving disputes, for they will happen? All of these behaviours can usefully be incorporated into a code of good practice on collective relationship. Use this as your roadmap. Sustainability of individual and collective relationships in the workplace hinges on reciprocity. What is reciprocity again? It's acknowledging that both employers and employees have needs. On the part of employees, this is for equity and fairness. For the employer, it's around efficiency and productivity. This model gives us a framework for engagement. What are the topics that we're going to talk about? How do we actually engage? Is it consultation or is it negotiation? And lastly, how do we measure the success of those outcomes? Are we having the right conversations? Unfortunately, I can't give you a predetermined formula. You have to make choices for yourselves. Tailor it for your individual circumstances. Some ideas? We can look to the performance pyramid, which identifies the needs of employees on a prioritized basis, reflected from time to time in satisfaction surveys. We can look at decent work as defined by the ILO. It goes way, way beyond just the wages. We can look at the World Economic Forum competitiveness reports. There are a range of factors there that negatively impact on our competitiveness as a nation. Importantly, we must tackle those issues. Perhaps we want alignment with the goals of the country. Here we can refer to the National Development Plan. There are a whole host of issues that deal with labour market issues there and issues such as health and education of employees. In conclusion, it is really important that organisations are successful, that they do grow, for in this way the economy grows. And if the economy grows, we'll be able to address on a sustainable basis the evils of our society, namely unemployment, poverty and inequality. Business is not an enemy, but it's an ally in this journey. Let's walk it together.